Welcome to the Mexpreneurs Podcast, the podcast about the stories of Mexican tech startup founders who are building world-class, fast-growing companies and having a positive impact at a large scale. My name is Erika Giorgana. I'm a Mexican based in Germany, a tech startup founder, executive, and mentor, and your host. Today we welcome back Erika Giorgana. Erika is founder and CEO of Pitribe, an HR tech startup based in London, UK. Pitribe is an Agile HR Management System for corporations to streamline their core human resources processes and to build an agile culture. Pitribe is used by over 20 large corporations across Europe and the Americas, including Fortune 100 companies. Pitribe is a solution developed in-house at Humand, a UK-based strategy and business transformation consultancy. Erika is both the CEO of Pitribe and Humand and is currently, in parallel, managing Humand's successful consulting business while also building Pitribe as a rising tech startup. I hope you enjoy. Support for this episode comes from Partnership Leaders, the leading community of partnership professionals and executives in SaaS and tech with over 1,500 members globally. We're living the decade of the ecosystem, and every CEO needs to become a partnership leader. Just take a look at the top companies in the world today like Microsoft, Google, and Apple. They have all become platform companies, and partnership executives in IT have been the ones leading these transformations. Partnership Leaders brings these executives together and is building a playbook to enable CEOs and business leaders across industries to transform their organizations into platform companies. If you're a tech startup founder, Partnership Leaders is the place for you to learn how to leverage partnerships to take your business to the next level. I'm a member of PL and co-host of the Germany chapter and have seen firsthand the richness and value of this incredible community. Visit partnershipleaders.com to learn more and to apply to become a member. Make sure to mention in your application that Mexpreneurs referred you so you can receive a special price if your application is accepted. Hello, Erika. Welcome back.
Hi, Sergio. It's great to be here again. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you very much for being here. So please tell us, what is Pitribe?
In summary, let's say Pitribe is an HR management system. It's focused on streamlining the core HR people processes and especially on building an agile culture in organizations. That's what Pitribe does, let's say.
Very ambitious North Star overall. So the intent of Pitribe is to help these organizations to transform into these agile new way of doing things. Like, how exactly are you seeing the world moving and why Pitribe is so essential?
What's happening in organizations today, Sergio, is that, as you know, the business market is becoming like a speed race. So companies want to be the first to give the customers what they want, when they want it, as they want it, right? In order to do that, what companies need to do is they are trying to look for ways to become simpler, faster, and closer to the consumer. And there are two ways they are doing this. Of course, they are investing in digital, in technology. And on the other hand, they are reconfiguring completely their current operating models to become agile organizations. No? So I don't know if you have heard of the agile transformation, but basically what companies are doing is they are changing completely their organizational structures from pyramids and silos and let's say the traditional org chart with boxes and reporting lines to these companies that look more like a human cell with multidisciplinary teams that work in a collaborative manner and where people flow to work from one team to another. So all this that it's happening inside organizations, because it's not only structures that are changing, processes are changing, the ways of working are changing. No, people, instead of working in traditional project management style, linear, no, they are working in agile ways of working. Probably you have heard of Scrum and Lean. And so all these that it's happening in an organization, what it's bringing into the table is how can people processes transform as well to really support agile organizations, because people processes, that the traditional people processes were created for traditional organizations. No? So, for example, in traditional organizations, you didn't have this problem of how am I going to manage capacity? No, I need to understand which people are working on that, on what type of projects, no, or and what time are they investing in these projects, because I need part of their work to be spent in another project. So all this that it's happening, no, Another example is people are working in agile environments. People work in short-term sprints. So people have, quarterly goals. And traditional HR processes were designed, all the performance management and everything was designed for people that work in cycles of annual goals. So everything is changing. And what we discovered, because as you know, I'm CEO and founder of Humand as well, the strategy and agile transformation consulting firm. So what we saw is that there was like a big white space in terms of technology on how companies could manage all these new processes, let's say in an agile way, and there was no technology to do that. So when working close with clients, they said, this is amazing what we're creating. We're creating an amazing organization with talent agility, and that looks very different to what we were before, but we don't have the technology to manage these new structures, these new processes, and that's how Pitribe was born. How can we help companies build an agile skill base? It is important to say that it's skill based. I'm going to speak about that later. But an agile skill based people process ecosystem. That's the idea. We're building and managing agile teams, building agile or continuous performance development, and creating an open talent marketplace inside the companies could become live. That's what Pitribe does, and that's how it was born.
And of course, these trends that you're mentioning about these move to agile, of course, it's relevant, I think, for every company, but especially you've been specializing in large organizations.
Large business transformations, yeah.
Well, why is it that difficult for these big corporations to move into that direction?
How I describe it, Sergio, basically, I always use this, let's say, metaphor on elephants who want to become leopards. So what we have in the kind of organizations that I call the elephants, are these big multinational companies that they have survived with a traditional operating framework for more than 100 years. The same operating framework has been live for 100 years, and it has worked well for the kind of environment that these organizations work for. It was the speed of change, the requirements of customers. It was much slower. It was another era. What is happening right now is that the big elephants are realizing that those operating frameworks for the kind of market or environment that we're living currently, with volatility and ambiguity and this speed of market, they don't work anymore. They are becoming slow. They are becoming heavy, like an elephant. They cannot move as quickly as a leopard. Who is the leopard, let's say? It's the startups, the Netflix, the Spotifys, these companies, how these startups work, or my startup, or your startups. What we do is we move quickly, we iterate. We're very, very close to the consumer, and we are able to very quickly respond to their needs. So what is happening basically globally is that more and more elephants are looking at the leopards and saying, what are they doing? How are they moving so fast? And how an elephant, a big, heavy elephant, can become a leopard, And I always say to the CEOs that come to me and say, Erika, help me transform into a leopard. I say, you cannot become a leopard. And they say, what? And I say, no, that's physically impossible, And that would imply that you will lose your essence. And you don't need to do that, Your elephant at the end, How many startups would love to be, seated in the amount of money that an elephant has, Or to have the legacy of brands that you have. So what we need to do is to build an elepopard. That's what I say to them, How can you leverage and introduce the best capabilities of the leopard and become the fastest elephant in this jungle that we live in? That's how I explain it. So how Pitribe, let's say, aligns into all of this? Well, basically is that Pitribe is a tool, is a software that can help large-scale businesses, multinationals. It's a tool, it's an enabler, that can help them become faster, simpler. How? By flexibilizing the HR processes, streamlining the HR process. So I don't know if I responded to your question.
Yeah. And I love this concept. What was it? Elephards?
Elephopards.
Elephopards. Because I think that's a fascinating thing. Because I think there's a big misconception, like in people that I know working with large organizations, they look at startups and it's like, oh, like how do we go and do that? No? And I love what you mentioned, that it's not that you will transform. Like there's a lot of value that those organizations have. So like already went through the test of time, no? And they're still there. No? So there's a lot of value, and they cannot expect to transform and drop everything and become that leopard.
No, but definitely they will need changes in structures, no, changes in processes, and changes in technology. So that's what we saw, that many companies, Sergio, when they started their agile transformations, they were doing amazing work on changing these structures, and they were doing amazing work on rethinking their ways of working, and even good work, let's say, on changing the processes, no? But there was no technology behind that could help companies support this agile transformation. From how can we support the changes in the people processes, no, and the changes in the structures with a tool, no, with a system that can help make this model come to life.
And now, so you were talking about these HR management systems. So, but of course, there's many HR management systems out there in the market. But what's missing? Like, what is that gap that you've found that no other HR management system currently is serving?
So as I was telling you, the traditional HR management system platforms, let's say, they struggle to keep the pace of these emerging trends and innovations that are happening now. So these core HR management systems, I'm not going to mention the names, but there are many well-known core HR management systems that I believe they won't disappear. No, so the idea is not that, for example, Pitribe will substitute one of these core HR management systems, because these core HR management systems at the end are helping companies with payroll and more transactional kind of people processes. But definitely what they don't have, and they are behind what they need to offer, is in terms of flexibility in the people development processes, in the career progression processes. So what we see is that not only companies, but the users, they don't feel their problems being solved by the current HR traditional systems. I think that what companies are trying to do is to complement these systems with cutting edge features that Pitribe can offer, for example, on driving or opening this internal marketplace, continuous performance feedback, agile learning solutions, all these that we can offer in one tool, in one ecosystem. That's basically what is happening now in terms of this agility and innovation inside the organizations.
Thank you for the clarification, because for me, what was not clear is, okay, is this expected to replace entirely those legacy big HR management system, or is these intended to work alongside those HR management system and enhance them?
Yeah, so basically, Sergio, what happens in Pitribe is, for example, to give you very, very clear examples of what does Pitribe do, no? First of all, when people start their experience in Pitribe, what they need to do is, instead of filling a profile, what they do is they create their talent card. And how they create their talent card is by a journey experience of discovering their skills. So Pitribe, you get into Pitribe and it says, Sergio, welcome to Pitribe, let's create your profile. And what it does, it helps you discover your skills in one part. And in another part, it helps you discover your purpose. Pitribe asks you, what are your motivations? What are your passions? What are your skills? No? And with that, we create these talent profiles for all the organization. No? So imagine that in terms of data value, no? The value that this has for the organization in terms of data is, for the first time, the organization has visibility of the skills, that's the keyword, of the skills that people have. No? That's in one part. Also, with Pitribe, what we do is role architecture skill-based. So skill-based role architecture. And what is that? Is, instead of creating these old job descriptions, traditional job descriptions that are super bureaucratic, no, and they don't serve for nothing. No, what we do is we create role cards. So every time that there's an open vacancy or that a person moves to a role, what we say is, line manager, create a role card very quickly. What's the objective of the role, the key tasks, and what are those skills that you require for this role? So we have a map of all the roles in the organization with the visibility of what skills are inside each of role. And with that, Sergio, what we have is we created these capabilities inside the organization of matching people with roles. So you, Sergio, if you get into PyTribe, we show you your career opportunities in a live environment. No? So what you can see is, for me, Sergio, I want to see which roles in the organizations match with my skills. It doesn't matter if you are in HR, it can show you what roles you match in finance, because maybe your skills are skills that are required in a project in finance. So this has opened a world of opportunities for people. Imagine this. So every once in a week or in a month, I will go into the tool and see what options are for me. Now, in the eyes of the organization, imagine the value of this. So what I can do is I can manage my resources flexibly with speed, because I can create a team inside PyTribe very quickly. This is the objective of my team. These are the roles that I need. Who are the people that I required? So you can, with a click, say, for this role, who in the organization is the best person to occupy this role? And you can show interest for that people. So it becomes like a kind of Tinder where we match. You can establish the OKRs, quarterly OKRs goals. No? You can review those goals. You can manage feedback so that everyone in the team can give feedback on what are the deliverables. No? Same as Uber. Sergio, what do you think of Erika's performance? 5 stars. No? Very quickly, because everything has to be very quickly because it's Agile. So 5 stars, 4 stars, perfect. And now, Sergio, tell me, what are the skills that you saw in Erika? No? And this is mind-blowing because it's the way of validating skills inside the organization. So it's not what Erika tells me she has, is what the people are saying, the wisdom of crowds, that Erika has skills. And that's with this mindset of building upon strength. What we want to see is what are the best skills of Erika so that we can match Erika with the best project. So imagine this for the person. For the person is, I can find career opportunities for me. I can see the progress of my performance every quarter. I can see the feedback of people that they are giving me. I can see the gap of my skills versus the skills required in my role. So I can quickly go to learning. So it's all this amazing ecosystem that sadly the traditional core HR management systems didn't give. Now, very important about PyTribe is that it has the APIs so that the information can migrate from PyTribe to the core HR management system, from PyTribe to the learning management systems. No, so it's an ecosystem by itself, but it also helps create the ecosystem, the bigger ecosystem.
And I'm even thinking for younger talent, there's all these war for talent for many years. And what I realized, especially at large organizations, you have a lot of high potential people that, I don't know, may be lucky to land with a great manager, maybe don't have that luck. No? And that, of course, if that doesn't happen, then their career, like at that moment, like stops and starts looking somewhere else. But now you're opening the possibilities around the whole organization.
You mentioned one of the things that most motivate me, that it's we are ending with the line manager monarchy, let's say, no? Because the line manager centralized all the power. They decided your career, they decided your salary, they decided your performance, they decided everything. But currently in the organizations, no, the agile organizations, what is happening is that you don't work only with your line manager. That was before, no, with boxes and reporting lines, and you were an individual contributor. In agile organizations, you work with one team and multiple teams, no? So let's say in a year, no, you can work with how many? More hundreds of people. And what we need to know is exactly that, the wisdom of crowds, because it's not one person thinks about you. So the power of PyTribe, as you discovered, is in the power of data. I can capture data from different points of time in terms of your performance, in terms of your skills. And with that, I can give you, person, transparency and objectivity and everything that for many years we were dying to have inside the organizations, no? Exactly what you mentioned. So that's what motivates me.
That's incredible. So, of course, we can dive a lot more into all the great things that you're building, but I think this is a fantastic overview. And now you were mentioning you're serving primarily large clients. So how many large clients, like how much is the traction of PyTribe up to date?
So we have been growing very, very fast. Currently, we have more like let's say more than 25, something, almost 30, no, companies, but large scale companies that are already use PyTribe, no? And I think the secret, no, behind how we have been growing so fast is that, as you know, PyTribe was born with Human, no? And Human is this consulting firm. So what has happened is that we really understand the problems of the companies. No, we really understand how we need to enable these features. No, and in what moment? Because what we do is we don't sell PyTribe like this is the tool, and no, we open certain features as the company starts maturing their processes. So first you can do skills discovery, and once you have skills discovery, then you can join all the performance development features. And so what has happened, is, of course, is that currently large multinationals are using PyTribe, like that whole PyTribe, with all the features, but it has been a journey of, let's say, 2-3 years for them to get there. And I think that's the secret sauce, because we don't push the platform. So basically they are asking for it. Is that, give me more. Now that I have this, give me this and give me this. And that has been the secret sauce. So I'm super happy of sharing with you this, because we have been growing very fast. And I believe that the years to come are critical for PyTribe, because we have been growing basically because of the consulting firm, the last years. But what we have proved is that the tool is already ready to fly on its own. We have the tool, it's amazing. All the features are what started as a prototype 5 years ago and then evolved into let's say a monster. And now it's a proper Agile HR management system that it's ready to be scaled up. So what we need is we need to invest in marketing. We need to invest in sales force. We need to grow our product development team. And that's my dream, because we are ready to jump. We are ready to scale up.
Actually, what I found fascinating about the evolution of PyTribe is, of course, it's been tightly integrated with Human until today. And I think for large organizations not going to adopt any software on its own. There's always a services arm that needs to be attached to it to help them, like handhold them so that they can implement it and so forth and go through the whole change management. But there's also the whole world of the small and medium businesses, which are much more low touch or self-sustainable, where services is probably not a prerequisite. And I think also where PyTribe, if it's a standalone solution on its own, can also have a great potential there.
Exactly. And I think with the knowledge that we have in Human, about the needs of the organizations, about the trends, because every day we work with the user and we know exactly what they want, what are their pains, what are their gains. We're inside the organizations. And I think that's very, very important for PyTribe as well to shine, So I think it was very, very good at the beginning, early stages that they worked together. But now I think they can still be, let's say, partners, but they don't necessarily be married, So that's where we are in this critical moment of defining what are the next steps. But definitely we want to scale up PyTribe and more companies need to benefit from it.
And also from an organizational perspective, like inside, like, of course, being a consultant company, primarily you have consultants, but now moving into a SaaS company, like that's where engineers, product managers, like it's an entirely different setup. So how is that transformation happening in-house?
Completely. So it already works like very separately, So although we're still together, and we work together, but also we work independently. So how is this product development team conformed? So I have a product manager, Lucia. She's in the US. And I'm going to make an emphasis on where they live because it's a very diverse team. So Lucia is in the US and she's my right hand. She makes all my crazy dreams come true. She translates the ideas into tangible solutions. So she works with me super by the hand. Then we have the product owner. Fede works in Mexico, and he is the most important link. It's like a link of a triangle, So he's the link between the developers, the link between Lucia and me, and the link between the consultants. He has to hear the requirements, let's say, of Lucia and me in terms of the ideas and where we want the tool to be in terms of vision. No? He has to hear the requirements of the user in the day-to-day that are the consultants giving him all these needs and requirements on the day-to-day. And of course, he needs to translate all that with the product development team, no? And come back with us and say, I know that you want this, but it's not going to be possible, or it's great that you have this idea, but we have a better idea, no? So that's a very, very critical role. And then we have the UX UI that she lives in Bali. And of course, she does all the
UX UI.
Exactly. So she translates everything into a very, very nice experience, no? And then we have basically the product development team that it's the front end, the back end, and the QA. They are in Colombia. So some people might say, how do you do this? Because the product team, development team needs to be together. How can we do it? With technology. No? We work every day together, we communicate, and even with different time zones, we manage to work together and to build what we're building. That's the basic PyTribe team. And then I have all the human team that if you can say that they are the implementers and the change management. So it's a big team, but we work together, but everyone has, of course, their responsibility. And even though we're all part of Human, the PyTribe team feels PyTribe as their company. It's normal, I believe.
And I think something that is also super important is the fact that it's been a homegrown solution. No? Also gives you much greater, and that is connected with human. It also gives you much more flexibility, also from a financial perspective. No? Because any other SaaS company that is just starting from scratch typically needs to quickly go into financing mode, angel investors, venture capital, and so forth. And you have the privilege of having a great, successful consulting company that is leading the way into PyTribe.
Exactly. And fortunately, as I told you, that PyTribe is growing very fast, human as well. At least still, no, we can manage funding PyTribe without the need of going out and looking for investors. However, my ambitions are big. So very soon it's not going to be proportional. We'll really need to go and search for investors to make this exponential. Our first target, let's say, is Latin America and the US market. There's a lot of need there. Companies are just starting their agile transformation. So we have all the way to grow. But very soon, I think in the next couple of years, we will really need support to grow.
So, and that I think is a great segue into, let's say, what are your priorities with PyTribe in the next 12 months? So what are the big things that you have coming up?
Currently, what we're doing is we're making the tool, I don't want to say perfect because it's not perfect, no? But what we build, like this first version of HRMS, no? HR Management System, Agile HR Management System, I think it's amazing, it's super good. And now what we need is, with all this feedback of the customers, is making some fine-tunes, tweaks, but we already have the vision of the second stage, no? So what are the second features that we really need to start developing? And I think, Sergio, that this is a never-ending story, no? Because I know Lucia, I know myself, I know my team, no? And every day we say, what do you know what would be amazing if our tool could do this and could do that? And we always say, as any startupper, no? You need to say, you need to find the balance between, should we do this now or leave it on the next stage? Let's leave it on the next stage. Let's focus on this. Currently, I think that we're in this moment on saying what we have is very good. We just need to be making some fine tweaks. What's coming up next? That's where we are in terms of growth. We need to invest, as I told you, marketing, sales team, to grow the development team. If we want to build this next phase of the tool in terms of development, we will need more hands. And now we're dealing with this challenge of implementing while you develop, no? Because at first it was, we're developing and we're implementing, but the implementation was in early stages. Now we are implementing in big companies, so you need to really safeguard the quality and the experience, and that's very much in the hands of the consultants. But at the same time, we need to start thinking on the next stage and keep developing. So that's where we are.
And I'm also thinking about how you're evolving yourself as a founder, as an entrepreneur, no, with these two ongoing business models happening. So it's fantastic. So, and that's actually would lead you to the last question that I would like to ask you, which is your best advice for other aspiring founders. I think you've proven that it is possible to start with a consulting company, create a technology company, push them both. Of course, as a founder, that's also a big stretch, no, this evolution that you're going through. What would be your best advice for those that would like to do something like you?
I think it's related to what I told you on the last interview. No, my advice is for founders would be focus on solving a problem that really resonates with you on a personal level. That's very important. Many startups solve problems. I think the magic comes when it truly resonates with your personal values. I would say look beyond the financial gain. I see many startups that just look for becoming millionaires, now becoming a unicorn. And instead of that, I would say pursue your passion, pursue your purpose. Because really, what at least has worked for me is really what we do is we try to solve problems to make people happier in the organization and to make organizations happier as well, because with that, people are happier. I think it's very important for startups to have that in mind. And that's what makes us not only come out of bed and say, yes, another day of Pitribe. I always say that one of my favorite moments of my day is when I get together with Fede and Lucia. I love those moments. And also when things get challenging, it's what makes you say, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. We will have better days, but we're working for something bigger. No, it's not just about the money. We're really trying to make a difference in the world. So that's my advice. I would say success is not just about monetary gains. It's also about making a meaningful difference to the world.
What an incredible way to wrapping up. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's a fantastic journey in which you are. I think you have great plans ahead. And thank you for being here. And we will be looking very closely into the evolution of Pitribe in the following month.
Thank you, Sergio. And congratulations as you as well for everything that you are doing.
Thank you very much, Erika.
Thank you, Sergio.
Bye-bye. And thanks to you for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe via your favorite podcast app to be notified about new episodes and share with us your feedback. We would love to hear from you. Thank you also to the Maxpreneurs team, Valeria Morel, Héctor Barragán from Hyper Voltage, Francisco Jaimes, Pamela Elizalde, Katia Cruz, Rocío Marroquín. I am Sergio Chavez. See you next time.